Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we got some pretty bad news going on over here because PlayStation is also now getting worse. Now, if you guys seen this, we've had a little bit of a negative buzz press when it comes to PlayStation, and of course, I'm a big PlayStation guy. Like, I like my consoles, and I got nothing with it, and honestly, I've made a bajillion PlayStation 5 videos, the point where you guys probably know I'm kind of an optimist. Like, I can't wait for future stuff. I can't wait for the PlayStation handheld, the PS6, upcoming games like Ghost of Yotei, everything. Like, I'm pretty pro PlayStation. But when they do something bad, I feel like it's almost in my own integrity as a YouTuber to always go bring it up for discussion or as well talk about it. Because, well, it's just a big deal. And right now, the PlayStation 5 went up in price. And that's not what this video is going to be talking about, but we're going to be talking about the fact that it went up in price and is now currently planned to get worse. As in, all brand new future consoles are actually now getting a downgrade on top of the price going up, and I am not happy seeing this, and I do think that PlayStation had a lot of goodwill, a lot of good vibes, and I think they're losing some of it right now. So let's go talk about it. We'd love to hear your thoughts down below, so please go and type it on out. Of course, leave a like and subscribe with the notifications on if you guys are new. And, well, let's just all sit here and cry humbaya together, although I do think a lot of us have probably gotten our consoles already. So most likely, we're probably okay, hopefully, but we'll have to go and see. So there's this huge article that came out as of, I think the last 24 hours about the PlayStation 5 Slim, which is the current console, baseline PS5, is actually getting a reduction in the SSD. So the price increase, as well as now they're decreasing the internal storage space for the upcoming CFI 2100 PlayStation 5 console. Now, this is all in different languages. Well, we have things in American in a second. American English. It is what it is. But this is kind of just like the rough idea for them, kind of showcasing up where the information came from, how people have spotted it, and what's going on with it. So now we've had obviously people also translate it, where Sony is lowering the SSD storage and the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition in Europe as of right now. And I believe the high level of it is that it's going from 1 terabyte down to 825 gigabytes, saying starting this month, Sony will be dropping the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition storage from 1 terabyte. So that's an okay amount. And don't forget, this is a bigger issue because games are getting still bigger. GTA 6, when that comes out, gonna be huge. Call of Duty, massive. Battlefield, massive. All of these games and all these textures and different languages and unoptimizations and everything, these games, sometimes we see games that are 300 gigabytes, or they come out and then they have non-stop updates forever, and then the game is 2, 3, 4 years old, and then they don't get rid of old stuff and don't try to optimize the games. You could have games that are as big as 250, 300 gigabytes, and at that point, plus with maybe filler games, maybe pictures, videos, maybe just have a game you always like playing, say a Fortnite, Rocket League, or whatever, that could also still be a big game. You have 3 games you can have on your storage until you want to buy more or upgrade more. So this is crazy. Sony will drop the PS5 Digital Edition storage from 1 terabyte back down to 825 gigabytes, reportedly to keep production costs low, while the price at least stays the same for them. Now, I want to remind you guys, and we'll get on in a second, typically whenever these consoles go throughout the entire world, we've always had these changes happen everywhere. It's very specifically weird for them to have an individual just country-based storage. This has never happened before. Now, prices may go and adjust a little bit, but we've never had the console itself change. So think about it this way, we've always had the same, I guess 5 or so iterations it's always been, because we've had the baseline PS5, and then they had a few more editions where they kind of toned down the internals. I've made videos on this, I'll remember it all. Some of them were changing the heat sink, some of them were changing the actual copper wiring amounts, and then kind of just trying to maybe make it a little bit shorter, more efficient. And we also had rewirings, and then we had the PS5 Slim. If you guys remember, we had the base PS5 without the little line, and this was also an internal rework. This was I believe 4.0, and then I'd say the PS5 Pro was the 5.0. So this looks like this is maybe the PS5 6.0 or 5.0 if you're only doing without the Pro. It's a little convoluted, but I think you guys get what I mean. But this is the first time it's ever had separate hardware, ever. And that's the first time. And what usually has happened, as I mentioned, maybe we're wrong, we'll see. But throughout all these things, they've always changed everywhere. Like it may show up in China for a few months, then maybe be in Australia for a few months. I think maybe the 2.0 was first in Australia that was found, and then widespread from the information from there, and then it kept on being consistently in all these other regions. So there's nothing to say that this is not going to come to America or China or Japan, Korea, Canada, wherever it might be. But there is a rare odd chance that it's only going to be focused on the European market, so it didn't have to have a corresponding price increase, because some of the European markets right now are not doing as hot. Same with like everything's like all over the place. There's ups and downs, interest rates everywhere, like we've been discussing, tariffs, everything, everywhere, you know? Like not even being political, just everything is wonky, everything's trying to stabilize, prices are going up, stagflation, inflation, shrinkflation, and people aren't happy about this. So when Sony first launched the PS5, the digital back in 2020, the storage on both units was 825 via the internal SSD. You only really had around 667 gigabytes at your disposal. The entire amount was 825 gigabytes, which was advertised at the box. So like I said, that was the baseline PS5, and they've had the internal changes since then, but they've always been matching nonstop. So this is why it's weird, because one region is different. So when Sony came out with the PS5 Slim model and we removed disk drive, both the digital edition and disc were bumped up to 1 terabyte of storage. So like I said, consistent. Fast forward to today, and Sony is now looking to drop the digital edition down to 825 gigabytes again, on top of the fact that Europe has had price increases before, Japan, price increases, India, price increases, America, South America, Canada, all price increases everywhere. The reason is clear. It's reportedly to keep the cost down on the console. Sony increased the price of the PS5 across the globe as the result of changing market conditions. The US was the most recent region. As you guys probably know, we've been discussing that these last 2 weeks. So thank you guys for the brand new subscribers from those. Sony reportedly wants to keep the cost of the consoles down, so it's decreasing the storage amount of the digital edition. The version with the disc will stay at 1 terabyte though, but also that's because they're also making a good profit margin on the attachable disc drives. Because if they can make an extra 20, 30 bucks on that one, they can kind of, eat the cost. So this is only decreasing in Europe for now. This is what I was discussing throughout the earlier part of the video. Usually these changes have gone everywhere, and like maybe they're trying to figure out the logistics, tariff situations, metal supply, transportation, or whatever it might be. Or maybe they just affected the American market, so they want to wait another like 5-6 months. Or get through this holiday season, then maybe increase the price in, say, March, February. These are all speculations, of course, but like you don't want a double whammy. But this is why it is kind of a double whammy, because anyone that maybe watches this news or sees this or discusses it knows that it will most likely have a downgrade in the coming months for even American users, and a confirmed downgrade here for European users as well. And this also goes in the same community sentiment. People don't like the fact that prices are going up, and that things are like getting worse, whether it's food, shrinkflation, your Pringle clan, or like your Doritos or sodas or whatever it might be. Yeah, it might cost the same, but you're getting less. So in theory, you're still paying more for the same amount of product, and it just stinks. So this hasn't been officially announced by Sony yet, but these changes have leaked, as we've shown you guys before, on these like brand new iterations. Sometimes with tariffs and moving things from different countries, you have to kind of basically say what the product model is. So like, customs can deal with it, and like they know what you're selling. And it's once again kind of a big tariff situation, but every country has this for exports and imports. So it's fine. But they basically had to go and list and state that this is a brand new PS5 model, which has been leaked, and they had to go specify all the statistics on these consoles, and that's why we know what's going on with it in the first place. So yes, smaller SSDs. And the one last caveat as I wind down the video is that SSDs in storage get cheaper over time. It's been like 5 years. So typically things like RAM, storage, and even things like GPU, CPUs become more efficient as technology evolves. Things get cheaper. A 1 terabyte hard drive is way cheaper now than it was 5 years ago, especially SSDs, because now we're seeing SSDs that are like the same price of like a 3 terabyte or 2 terabyte for what it used to be for a 1 terabyte. So if anything, things should be getting cheaper to mass produce. Things should be cheaper to go get involved. And it makes me really sad to go and see this all, because this is just us giving us a worse product, and things are not looking as nice. And it makes me really sad. It really does, because I don't want to get a lesser product. And anyone who might be getting a console now in the future is getting a worse PlayStation, a more expensive PlayStation, and things aren't really equaling out as much. So I'm very thankful I have all my consoles already. And I'm sure most of us watching have their consoles already too. And I think that's a great thing. But the thing that stinks is anyone who might be new or having these new users may not have a chance to go get their consoles for the best optimal price and convenience. So leave me your thoughts down below. Subscribe if you guys are new, and I appreciate you guys all so much here for watching here in the first place.